Welcome everyone, Dr. Thor here. Get ready for Gnosis. Well, we're moving into a new year again after a couple of really sucky years. This will continue. I don't really see the passing of these viruses, whatever they are, whatever the contrivedness of them are. These are things that are here, people are dying, and we have to deal with it. And the way you're going to survive in this area and everything else in your life is through radionic tech. We have the technologies to build and improve your life, and oftentimes these edge technologies, giving you the edge over everyone else, is what's going to decide you whether you are successful or whether you fail, or even to the point of whether you live or die. There is very serious factors to keep in mind here. We have to get back to life and move as we normally did in the past. And one of this is preparing yourself. Now, there's a real misnomer going out there, an urban legend perpetrated by people that just want to sell you junk, that psychic abilities, the biophysical, bioconsciousness is a term that I'm starting to use now, is just something you inherit, that you don't really need to practice. You don't need to train yourself. It's just kind of normal. It's natural. Well, after all, we're all psychic. Well, we're not all psychic. We don't have consciousness abilities that just pop out of us. Yes, like everybody out there, you have a human system, muscles, legs, feet, hands, that you can do human type things. Your actual abilities are very dependent upon getting the right training, working with the right tools, and having help. Now, this all comes from radionic tech, and we are very happy to be able to bring these proven systems to you. But you have to train yourself. Nothing is 100% 1, 2, 3 flip of a switch. This is nonsense. I try and make things as easy and as simplistic as possible so you don't have to put a lot of energy into it. But you can't make yourself be psychic. You have to practice and bring yourself up to a certain level. You have to stimulate and activate all these closed energetic systems within you. You're working from a very mundane physical reality world, which is needed to go to work, survive, drive, etc. Take care of the mundane, basically worthless things, but they're very important. You know, if you don't take care of yourself, you don't eat good food, you don't clean yourself and where you live, well, this causes a bad energetic field and can contribute to all kinds of physical and mental illnesses. So we all have to do this whether we like it or not. But this is the world you're living in 98% of the time. Now, you're living in this physical world that has only a tiny value to you. The physical world is controlled by the non-physical, all the kind of subtle energy physics that I've been talking about for years. And there's lots of exciting things coming out, and we're having a subtle energy physics training course is going to come out to give you a background of it. We are going to be coming out with an advanced radionic course that will go into all the practical uses of radionic tools in general and the technology that I've developed specifically. And so everyone is very clear at that because it's all a big mass of confusion, and very few people within this industry know anything or are able to teach it, or they have their own little device that they teach. So there are very little broad spectrum information out there, and even that is kind of very dated, going back close to 100 years and sometimes more. So we have to bring things into the new reality, the new non-physical, the informational energetic fields that control all physical matter. Now, informational energetic fields are not nothing. They have substance, they do manifest, but it is not considered physical matter. And of course, physicists who are confused about everything and believe in God and a lot of other stupid things that are non-physical, are no help whatsoever. They're totally confused and total failures. Well, this pushes into the alternative fields as well. What do people know? What do they do? Well, the point is they don't know much, and they tend to push their same junk all the time. Well, nobody's going past and having better levels of this type of information out there. Well, until now. But you got to remember that radionic tech has a complete system of training. Now, last year I laid out the system for everybody to train. Here's the time. Change your life. Do it now. We're starting a new year. It's a time to change your life. Get into the understanding. And, basically we offer it all. I always try and refine things, and we get new breakthroughs all the time. New technologies. Well, yeah, I can build a $10,000 fantastic machines and tools, but this is out of people's budget. So what can we make that is high quality, generates lots of energy, and can be priced fairly? Well, that's what we have now. And people don't really understand anything new. They want to go back to clumsy dial units that do little or nothing, that have no electricity or anything else going to them, thinking that there's something happening there. Well, there is on a subtle energy physics level, and you need to understand subtle energy physics if you are going to understand this entire world of energy that we live in, because everything starts from the energetic, these fields, these energies, and goes and creates the physical. So, simple as that. It's not complicated, and if we started working and understanding that as a premise from everything, we would have jump ahead in science unbelievably. But we don't do that because everyone's stuck in an old paradigm that creates really failure. But the human species loves failure because that's all we do is support failures. No matter what it is or whom it is, basically they're failures. So we need to move on past that, and this is the big mental blockage that we've run into from really thinking that is based in the middle 1600s, which have formulated our belief system basically from a bunch of cranks and weirdos who really didn't figure anything out. I mean, there's some basics to it, but the bottom line is that any kind of physics, theoretical physics in particular, which is about if, ands, and maybes, has little or no value. I mean, physics has to be turned over to the, quote, engineers, of which I'm not big fans of, but engineers have to make something that work. Now, 90% of the time, they make stuff that doesn't work and doesn't last, but at least they have a proof of it. While physicists have proof of nothing but what they have contrived in their mind. Kind of like a bad LSD trip, man. So the whole idea is that we need to move past that. But I put together a great system. It's all there. Well, wonderful breakthroughs are coming through and better information to help you do everything at a much higher level and give you greater understanding. The bottom line is that you need to train yourself. Now, we've done this. I started this, and I still get these emails from people saying, where do I start? Well, it's pretty clear on our new site. Now, and this is basically the new site for the new year, which is Dr. Thor Radionic Tech Limited. And of course, that's what it really is. I mean, this website and the teachings I have, and basically the people who are accessing my products and so forth, well, they believe in me, and rightfully so. The bottom line is this really isn't a radionics site, it's Dr. Thor's site, and I have hundreds of hours detailing my information. I'm one of the few people out there, if not the only one, with over 50 years experience in subtle energy physics. I've written over 25 books, 10 courses, all sorts of information that I've been on CNN, BBC, hundreds of radio shows. I've done all this stuff and have this background that no one else has. I have a doctorate degree in subtle energy physics, the only one ever granted from the Advanced Science Institute, which was located in Palm Springs, California in the 1990s, which went for about 10 years, which are the only people that had the information there and compiled it. Now, keeping that all in mind, you have to understand where you're getting information from. There are other people out there that are poorly trained, hooked up to all sorts of strange, weird, and even demonic sources that you have to stay away from. There's also a lot of old technology out there. What has it done? Who are the people in their field? Well, most of it just seems to be geared towards fear and the fact that they don't want to say anything. There's horrific old information on there from manufacturers of technologies, and of course, they have their little groups doing whatever, and we just don't know what is being done or not. There's a lot of gossip. Every time I test something, unfortunately, I tend to find horrible failure rates. Most of it doesn't work at all. Now, are these people frauds, con men, or whatever? Well, I think they're sincere in their own way, but they're also sincerely based in their pocketbook. So they have to have these things to actually survive. So we understand that even if it doesn't work. So we're trying to find the answer. And as I've always said, I'm more than happy to attach my wagon to anybody that has something that works. And this is very rare to find. And when I do find things, I let you know. But there's all sorts of problems. It's a very complicated world, and you just can't come out and say things. And, what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for the other. Now, does that make it bad technology? No. That's the same thing that we have out there with the recent problems with vaccinations. Billions of people are getting vaccinations, and you're going to have a certain percentage of people that have problems, and they always have. Vaccinations have been terrors to a large percentage of the population for a long time. Children have been getting vaccinations and being made autistic by them. Now, this is very common, yet people didn't scream that much about it, and they kept vaccinating people. If you're a person who gets very sick and you get an injection of an antibiotic, well, a lot of these people are actually allergic to it. Ampicillin is a prime factor of something that's very effective, but a certain percentage of the population get horrible reactions that can actually cause death. There are a few people a year that die from ibuprofen. Many others have kidney damage from this because ibuprofen, otherwise known as Tylenol, is favored particularly in Europe, and high doses are given to this crap drug. So we go on and on with everybody. So what exactly is going to work for you is unknown. But not really. I put together a system that I've been working on for over 40 years directly. I've been training in this area now for approximately 53 years that I've been involved studying one way or another. From childhood in the very popular yogic Eastern traditions that were going on when I was a young boy, going through that into all sorts of alchemical, magical, and then radionic type systems. And they all kind of blend together, and they all have their own different effects. But we've put the system together. No one should be confused of what they have to do. And it is there. It says there, Dr. Thor's Training System 1. Well, what is that? Well, that's the training system. So that's the first page you go to. And if you want to start off with, you really need to open up your content. I just want to work with radionics. I don't want any of this other nonsense. Well, the point is that radionics is not an easy field to learn to become good at. Now, you can empower all your thought forms pretty easily with my technology. But people want to manifest at a level of a guru, or whomever these people are. So we all have to understand that of what this is and how that works. So where you start off with is the critical areas, the foundation that you need. And this starts with anything you do. You got to get a foundation. Now, if you expect your consciousness to work for you, and we're talking about bioconsciousness here, which empowers everything, well, you first got to take control of what controls the bioconsciousness, which is the primitive mind. This is called centering. It's not difficult. It's easy to do. I've laid it all out. And all of our courses come with CD training, which are fantastic. Not only do you get that lecture, which we all kind of love, and the written information to go with it, which is always nice to reference, but the CDs are scalar energy tools. You put your photograph on them, your properly taken instant photograph, hopefully using one of our cameras, and the energy will pour directly into you, opening up all of these amazing energetic informational fields, which will now allow wisdom and gnosis to pour into you. So You start on page course 1. Get the foundations. Understand what this is all about. You also, if you want to go to even higher levels, we have very powerful energetic cells which will push huge amounts of information into you, connect you to the stream for that particular empowerment. So number 1, of course, you want to make sure you are centered. Number 2, you want to make sure you're using the psychic gym. These are muscles. You have to open up energetic pathways if you expect to be psychically powerful. Now, some people have this naturally to a certain degree, but they generally have to develop it. Even if you're a top psychic, you have to develop it. You have to learn to control it. Now, a lot of people don't want to do that. I find this very common with middle-aged women, psychics in particular, that just are open. They feel the energies. They take it into their being, and it actually generally kills them. It's notorious that they die in their late 50s from the fact that they are taking in all these toxic energies. That's not doing things right. And they have a limited ability because of this as well. They're not really honing their abilities. These are skills that you learn. This is not something you inherit and just get a book on techniques and work with them, and the techniques then make it happen. Well, that's the hard way to do it, and oftentimes creates a huge failure rate. So the whole idea is, get that. What can I manifest? Understand the principles of manifestations is in Course 1. In Course 1, you get all these CDs, all these things to empower you. It's a fantastic, unique, powerful system. Core abilities. What are the core abilities? And the foundation. So this is a great foundation course number 1. And of course, you can, as I've mentioned, you can get energy cells to connect you even stronger into these, which are super easy to use. And again, these are all shortcuts, so you don't have to spend hours living in some temple, meditating and doing all the things that basically gurus and powerful people have done. Living a kind of an alternative way, because you can't really survive that way. And a lot of them, like the Buddhists, tend to spend most of their day begging so that they can survive in this kind of strange lifestyle. Well, this is called the 4th way, which is the fact of living within society and functioning. Now, Course 2 is the real critical one I was talking about, specifically where you get into centering and the gym. Now, you got to center it, take control of your mind so you can focus the energies where you have to. You have to open up all the power centers using the gym. It's just as simple as that. Again, there are energy cells for this, and our energy cells are beautiful. I hope everybody's went online and looked at these. You get a huge amount of training CDs with these courses. I mean, these are great deals. The courses are huge, packed with information. They're very well produced. They have these scalar energies that transfer energies through your pictures. You also can get one of our beautiful cosmic code energy cells that we talked about, which has your personal cosmic code on the back, where all energy is sent to that. You have a unique cosmic code, which is a number sequence that no one else has. And because of that, you are able to draw in energies that are in the energy cell to you specifically. So it's very exciting that these are available. And that's Course 2. Course 3, well, we know everybody wants technique, so we move you right into the Extreme Ability 2-volume set. And of course, this has a few CDs with it, and it also has great practical information. So all of this is part of the actual empowerment system, and you can get a Extreme Abilities energy cell. And again, these are gold coated, beautiful, plated, I should say, beautiful tools you're going to use for the rest of your life with your personal cosmic code on the back. So you just follow through the courses. And understand, these are lifetime tools. You're going to use these for the rest of your life. The books you insert your photographs into to send your power through the books as well. You're using our special empowerment sigils, which you'll use for the rest of your life intermittently. You also have the CDs, which you leave photographs in forever. You change them about every 6 months. Your MechTech, your manifesting energy cells, are a lifetime tool that you'll use forever. Powerful tools that you're going to use all the time in all your practices. So this is a fantastic system with tools that are not just used and thrown away, but you'll keep forever. You could even pass these on to family members, children, your grandchildren. Wouldn't that be wonderful to have something that is powerful, spiritual, and has your energy in it? I mean, these are fantastic tools that are only offered by Radionic Tech. And then we go into Course 4, which is Tibetan Visualization. And of course, visualization is a very important tool, and we give you, again, you have an energy cell that'll connect you to that. We have Course 5, which is our basic handbook. And while this is based on the older organization, because we've been around for over 40 years now as an organization, which is fascinating of what an ancient guild was all about. But we're really not a guild anymore. It's too difficult running that, and it's too difficult finding people that want to go in that long of a path. But it has 100 empowerment sigils in it. Now, sigils have energy with them, and by just looking at them for a second or less, it's actually an instantaneous, a quantum physicist understanding of connection of energies, where it instantly transfers the energy to you, and you just flick through these 100 sigils, and the process is being opened within you. So here again, you don't have to concentrate and practice, but you have to go through the motions, and you have to do it consistently. So you want to activate the inner manifesting being, so to speak, and this is sitting there dormant, and you have to activate it. And once this is activated, and this is what people who have extreme abilities have active, is their inner manifesting being. You actually activate this, and as such, you start achieving all these abilities that you desire. But you have to work with it. And while the energy is transferred instantly, you are not empowered instantly. It takes time. You just can't push a person ahead. You have to go through these things for many months, and actually, this is a lifetime of training. Now, when we go to page 2 of Dr. Thor's Training System Part 2, well, these are all practical books giving you techniques. They're all techniques. There's no philosophical mumbo jumbo. They, of course, come with their own empowering CDs as well. Put your photograph on the CD and you're done. It's as simple as that. There is some information on most CDs, and of course, you can release the energy at a very powerful level by just putting them in a player and spinning them without sound. The sigil will then throw its energy into your environment, and you'll be strongly affected by it. So you go through these and find out what you're interested in. We have hypnotism, we have protection. There's so many different areas here. This is where you start getting into techniques once you have the muscle. Everybody wants to go out there and have big giant muscles and be able to pick things. Well, you got to build up to that. And then what you like. So we have a lot of technique books there. Also, from there, we like to move people, of course, what's popular with most people is radionics. We also have a course on gnosis. How do you reach a high level of consciousness? Because this is important to be able to do all the things that people want to do. So it's all there. It's laid out. It's simple. We are here to assist you. Anytime you have questions or need help, all you have to do is contact us and we work with you, whether that is through the email, which is the easiest, and we're always happy to talk to people on the phone for a period of time and help you. But, you do have to understand this area and be studying it. You have to be able to understand English well. So if you don't understand English well, you're not going to be able to understand these things too well. And certainly I'm not going to be able to communicate well with you. So this is a problem as the world gets tinier and people have some money and they can access the internet. So do keep this in mind, and we are always seeking to train people to the highest possible level. But I have hundreds of hours of training on YouTube that you can access for free. Basically, it's all all there. Find products, look through these things. The fact of searching a little bit can be very helpful, because what it does is it kind of makes you go to certain areas that have been chosen for you. Your guides come in and your guides say, well, this is something interesting. Maybe I should listen to it. So there's lots of information there. You don't have to sit down and listen to something that may be a longer lecture all at one time. Write down where you can. 15 minutes today, so write down 15 minutes on that and then come back tomorrow or later and listen to it. But you want to be good at this. It takes training. There's no instantaneous empowerment period. People have to train themselves. And while you won't see this in a lot of books, even from people like Uri Geller and other people, they are training themselves all the time. They are doing practices. They're doing workouts. And they don't talk about that, but they talk about the methods of doing things. But they have trained themselves. All professional psychic organizations have training programs and always have. Few people understand this, that if you're a researcher, you just can't put an ad out there saying, I want psychic people. Well, they do that, and you get a certain percentage of people. And then that's it. Where do you go from there? Well, all of these institutions, from Princeton's Engineering Institution to SRI and other people, have done these kind of research for, many, many years. All have had to train people to stimulate the centers that we're talking about using different types of machines. Now, we have one of these professional machines, a very limited quantity of them, the Perceptron. Well, this was made by SRI and the scientists there to train people. Very rare, very powerful tools coming with complete instructions, etc. Well, these are the kind of tools people should have, and you need tools to train yourself. We want to live in the fantasy that we plug our brains into something and we now have that skill. Well, that's just never going to be possible. You can get information like that, meaning what you have to do, and get plugged into it. Like, I know Kung Fu. Well, maybe you do know Kung Fu, but you're not going to have the physical synapses to be able to move quickly, learn the balance, etc. Those have to be learned through actually doing it, as most things do. So there's two types of learning which are synergistic with each other and very important to have, and that is the actual consciousness task, the bio-consciousness of doing something, meaning you understand it on a deep level, which is critical, and then the physicality of doing it. And that doesn't mean that you're pumping iron. The physicality of going through visualizations, using these different methods that I've talked about, centering your mind, all of this is what it takes to be successful. Now, this should be fun and exciting. If you're looking at this as a task or it's difficult because all you want to do is go out there and live in a comic book world and blow up buildings with your mind or fly like Superman, well, you're in the wrong place anyway. There's a lot of books that try and sucker people into that, telling them that this is a reality. It is not. You cannot reach those levels, or I should say very, very few, if any, and will reach those levels. And when you do, you don't really exist here anymore. You become a god. Why would a god live on Earth? There's certainly nothing special here living in the hell zone that we live in as this reality is. And as you can understand through our Gnosis courses, you are in hell. That's where we are right now. So the whole idea is to practice, get out of this, and ascend to the higher level. All this is taught in our Gnosis courses, and they will be added to dramatically this year. This is a big project I'm working on, and we'll get all this kind of training out there. We have a lot of fantastic tools. How many more can we have? Well, I love tools, and I'm constantly finding new ones, developing them, testing them, etc. And it takes time to do all this stuff, right? And we want to make sure that we make things reasonable so people can afford them. So as we move into all these areas, you need the training and everything that goes. How long is it going to take to do all this stuff? Well, it doesn't take that long. You should start seeing results from this within a week. Things should jump up, but that depends on what you're expecting. But you do have to practice, and this is a lifetime skill. You don't become reach a high state of consciousness in 5, 10, 15. You've got to go through 20 years of being on the path so you understand things. You are full of garbage and programming from your family, the institutions, and they've all put in you complete and total lies. Things that they totally believe at 100% and probably would put their life on the line to say that this is true. But when we really come down to it, it's urban legend and lies. Well, how are you going to get that out of you? Your programming, your belief systems, all of this that have been drummed into you and basically you've been infected by. Well, the cure is a lifetime of proper training and supporting organizations like this who are doing the great work to evolve you to go on to the next reality. This isn't about changing the world, people. That's impossible. What is possible is escaping hell that you're in right now and the reincarnation cycle that is endless that goes on here. So this is all part of the higher level understandings that people find attractive, but this isn't something you just go to school and learn and all of a sudden you're at the higher level. It's the same thing with everything else. You're going to have to practice for the rest of your life, or it's not practice. These are things you do to prepare yourself. If you want to be a bodybuilder or do anything well, running, sports, whatever it may be, mathematics, you got to do it every day and you do it consistently. You keep pumping that muscle that sends energy to that understanding level. And this is all part of the reality that's out there. So you're not going to just do something, learn it, and that's it. Every step you go is a step up, which creates a stronger and more powerful field. The whole idea is not to spend your entire life getting to a certain level. It's about creating higher and higher levels. One of the problems with a lot of Eastern mysticism is that they state that this is going to take forever and you have to practice and be so disciplined. Well, that goes with everything. So I don't know if that's a proper way to explain things. It also assumes that you're at 0 and you won't be at 10 until 30 years from now. Well, that's nonsense. So the whole idea is that you're constantly going up every day. How much higher levels of empowerment you reach is very dependent upon you. What you're doing, do you understand your practices? Are you changing your viewpoints of the world? Are you seeing the real world? We know nothing. Nobody even knows how their own body works. Do you understand that you are a sugar burner? Everything in your body is turned to sugar that you burn. And every species on this planet does the same thing. Plants turn things to sugar that they then use through photosynthesis and through the process of minerals and water, etc. So you know that? You probably don't know that. You don't even know the basics of it. And we've been told a bunch of lies endlessly about everything. And that's why I make a lot of different videos for YouTube that show the lies that society is telling us. You need to wake up because you don't know anything. And to think you're going to be this super being and control everybody just because you want to is nonsense. So it takes training, it takes tools, and it takes dedication. None of this really is that difficult. And it should be very fun and enjoyable. It's just that you have to do it like everything else. You can't live on candy bars and cupcakes and expect to have a great body. You can't have a great body unless you exercise and take care of it and do the necessary things. That's just the way all of life is. Well, that's too much trouble. I'm just going to sit here and get fat and who cares about anything and get sick and die. Well, that's your choice. But it's not that this particular path is difficult. This is a very easy path. And when you tune into the energies and you use them to improve your life, you soar ahead while other people fall behind. You will have that all-important edge that makes the difference between success and failure. And you have to find what works best in your life. You have to find what you like. Are there archetypes? Are there energy fields that you prefer over others? Meaning this is called a tradition. So do you like a particular tradition? Do you like Hindu? Do you like Celtic? Do you like Nordic? Do you like Taoist? The point is that these are kind of personal things, and oftentimes it'll go into your personal programming. So you're Asian, so you're into the Taoist. You're black, so you're into voodoo. So these are the type of things that people get caught into. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Most people start off that way. They're seeking a connection higher than the garbage that is given to us in regular society. So there's nothing wrong with that. But as a path unto itself, it may not be the best one. being eclectic and synergetic in nature, meaning using lots of different things, putting them together to make a greater whole instead of individual pieces, is a critical understanding. So this is and we talk about this in the foundations. What's your tradition? What are you kind of into right now? And there's some people who jump their cultural traditions as well. They feel connected to some sort of other type of society or archetypes. And that's what life is all about. It's not about religion, it's about archetypes. So you like this archetype. So religious figures are generally archetypes, meaning I want to be like this. I like the attitude of this. But you don't have a choice with that. You've been told what to believe and how to act and be put in a structure, and then you go and pay for it usually. That's what a church is called. And they're all bad because they don't teach ascension, they teach slavery. You believe the way we want you to believe, and maybe you get rewarded from it because this is the path. Well, the people getting rewarded from that, of course, are the church officials. We've had religions for tens of thousands of years, and society is no better one iota. And don't add up the little toxic toys we have as some sort of better society. Certainly, there were amazing structures built 10, 20,000 years ago that we can't even conceive. To think that a computer is a high-level tool is kind of joking. Yes, they are tools. We have went in this direction. Is it the proper direction? Well, to a certain degree, but again, we're missing the point. We don't understand the brain. We don't understand bioconsciousness. All of this is a real problem. But we solve all this for you. But it's not a 1, 2, 3 thing. But if you just want to empower yourself, use tools and everything else, the process isn't that difficult. Within 90 days of doing processes outlined and techniques in the books and getting the tools you need, you should be operating at a much higher success level. Things in your life will have dramatically improved, and you'll build from that. Now, that's if you understand the information. I spent endless time making one video instruction after another, a next audio, etc., training people. Now, do you get it? Well, telephone calls and videos and everything else are not going to get you to get it. They may assist to a certain level, but what about past that? I've talked to a lot of people, and they pretty much drop it after they get stuff. They're not following through. They're not going to higher levels. And, you do need camaraderie. You need to be with people that think the same, who can empower you. One of the greatest keys to learning of empowerment is being in a powerful, congenial environment with others doing the same thing. Well, you don't have that, and you never will. There are no organizations that are alternative that really have any good communication structures. If you don't live in the same town with somebody, you're not going to do it. Even if you live in the same area, if you live in the same city and you have to go anywhere from 20 to an hour to hook up with somebody, you won't do it. People don't get together, and they're very awkward when they do. They're not used to communicating. This is something you do by yourself. In your room, in the dark almost. So you're very isolated, and this is one of the problems. How do you get past that? Well, I make lots of videos, lots of audios. There's lots on the All Access membership, on the website, on Patreon, etc. This is how you stay connected, and you can do it for very low cost, but these are your people. This is your talking. This is where everybody has to get together on a level for every time you take, because you doing it yourself is important as well. Sitting down in front of your community saying, gee, I'm now in that head, so to speak, is critical. If you just call somebody on the phone and they've had a bad day, they're tired, they're watching TV, and then want to talk about these things, well, it's very difficult to switch gears to do that. So you do that by going to these places when you're ready, when you're interested in changing your life. It's as simple and as difficult as that. Now, we make lifetime tools. Everything we make can be used for life and actually passed on to others if they respect and love the tradition, or even you. These are fantastic and tools that no one else really offers. and they should be passed down. This kind of products and so forth. What a gem it would have been, or a joy in my life, if I would have had something from a higher consciousness relative who owned it, put his energy into it. I mean, we do this in so many ways. I have grandfather's watch, mother's ring, this item that we've kept from our relatives because we want to be in connection with them. Not the physical item connection, but we're trying to commune with their spirit. Well, that's what all these tools do. And I don't think people get that, and I think a lot of people are very disconnected. I mean, most people don't have support anywhere. Well, you get your support at All Access. You get your support at Patreon, where you can have an interactive environment to a degree. We're hoping to have interactive environments where we get together and able to communicate on different realms, talk about life and other things, where people can start being energized, empowered with the community aspect, which is so critical to people, but so rarely available to any groups. Because you really have to be in a very populated area in a big city, and maybe you'll get people to turn out. I was always amazed in Los Angeles in general, unless you're a celebrity new ager, quote, you never really got a lot of people. And even if you were a celebrity, a couple of hundred people turned out. This is a city of 20 million people. The average person maybe would draw anywhere from 10 to 20 people, and this is in a big city like Los Angeles. So people don't turn out. It's too stressing. Well, okay, it's Saturday today. We're going to now be spiritual. You got to drive 2 hours, park the car, take care of all that, spend all this money to just, for gas and food. Now let's be spiritual. Well, it doesn't work, and that's why people don't show up. But with the new world, with the internet, with so many things that we're going to be putting together in the new year, we're going to try and get past this level of problems by having greater communication, and where I will be becoming much more public as well. So this is all part of going into this whole new reality. But this is all part of training yourself. This is what you have to do. How fast can you do this is totally up to you, but this isn't about doing things quickly so that you have power to manipulate society. Life doesn't work like that. You can't manipulate society as an individual very easily. It's going to take training, applying your processes, getting your power energy cells, using the tools. This is all part of it. And you have to find, well, this tool didn't work as great for me as another one. Well, which one does work for you? Well, there's no way of knowing. They all add to your power. Anything that you obtain, particularly energy cells, can be put in your Triforce system that will be sent to you 24/7. So everything empowers you that you use. What it empowers you the most? Well, this is a synergistic process of getting the right tools, the right training, and for you getting it. Do you get it? Most people don't. You're still thinking about your old religions, your old nonsense, your old teachers who have filled your head with really is nothing more than filthy feces that you are now living on. Your entire consciousness is based in these urban legends that are complete lies to control you. Well, stepping over that line, getting into truth, is exciting and fun. It also is difficult because you're going to hit your head against the wall right away. Well, you're saying things that have never been told me before. I've never heard this before. But it's all out there. You're not doing your studying. You're not opening yourself up. So until you're able to do that, until you're able to give up and drop that rope that is you're bound to, that's been tied on you, and I should say not only drop it, you need to cut it off. But that is frightening to individuals initially. So this is a area that takes a lot of guidance and something that you need to get involved with. We're going to be doing in the new years, we're going to be posting on All Access the fact of some weekly guidances. What are you doing? We're going to talk about subject matters where you can have a place to go and get that information. This will also be posted on Patreon where you can then so contributing is important as well. It's not by giving a lot of money. It's about getting together with others, showing that you're serious by giving a small amount of money. And hopefully, hundreds of people can generate lots and lots of research money and help a organization by giving very little. And this is, of course, the whole idea about the internet and Patreon, etc. So what are you doing to support it? Well, going to a place and paying nothing is a non-supporter. And as such, they're just there to take. So you don't get much that way. You have to participate and feel you're part of things. So trying to get people part of an organization has always been difficult, and rarely has this happened in any kind of major way. But we're trying to bridge this now with our new institute coming up and many other more public things that we will be doing. Well, we're going to try and build this, and it's tough to build things because we don't have enough people participating, but and then people come and they find there's not a lot going on. Well, that's because you are not participating. If you're there and others are there, this is how it builds. So it's important to get that camaraderie, to get that constant feed that you're going to get hopefully on a daily basis through Patreon with something or another, whether it's a posted article or book or more detailed information, is where we're going to try and push things through. Of course, all access membership is also very important with our huge libraries, technical schools, business schools. This is all part of being involved in the process. If you're involved in the process, you get a lot more out of it. So everything's going to take practice. Nothing of the bio-consciousness, psychic powers, all of these things to build. None of this is built instantly to high levels. It's going to take time and you have to work with it. But you've got to understand that you're constantly improving. You're going to notice how things work out good for you as soon as you get involved. Now, I've had people have all sorts of wonderful things happen to them just by accessing my videos, by watching YouTube. You're connecting with the energy of the organization. Very important. And all that goes with that, all of our terrestrial and extraterrestrial contacts, all the energy that's built up and connected to this organization that goes back hundreds of thousands of years. All of this is what you have to be part of it. And it's not just buying stuff, it's contributing. When you buy something, that's not really support. So that's where Patreon comes in with a little bit, or whatever we're going to use in that particular area. I'm not the over fan of that, but it certainly is a medium. But the whole idea is that you want to be part of everything. Well, are you an all access member? Are you a Patreon member? Well, you're not really contributing. And this is not a lot of money in any way, but it does help the organization. If the organization has a stable monthly base, we can then do the things that benefit people more instead of running around doing business and trying to make more sales so that we basically can survive and eat and put a roof over our head. So if we have to spend all our time doing that, and of course, the Dalai Lama said that. The Dalai Lama said, it's unfortunate that I have to spend so much of my time fundraising and I can't do the work I want to. Well, all organizations are like that. So make sure you stay in touch. Make sure you become part of the organization. It's there. We've been around for years. We have wonderful facilities. We have a great website. We have a great inner website with information there. Hundreds of books and courses and training that you get just for all access, which is basically about $8 a month. It's $100 a year. And you can choose your level of support with Patreon. It's important to support somebody who's really doing something. Our technologies and the research we do is to achieve something now. It isn't about reaching a high spiritual level. It's about manifesting in the physical world so that you grow in empowerment. And that can be something as simple as a new type of sigil, design, etc., which we will be giving people. We'll be giving rates to people on hopefully a weekly basis on Patreon for a particular substance or item. This is very valuable and worth a fortune. These rates, these numbers that represent a physical manifesting field are priceless. And it will be gotten from a master. And do remember the fact that you just can't learn things like radionics quickly and easily. You have to bring up your sensitivity. You have to be a good dowser. You have to open up your psychic capacities. Your bio-consciousness has to be open if you're going to get good numbers. That's why having a dial unit is really not all that important. You can't use it right. Plain and simple. So what you need are the actual numbers, the radionic rates, and then learn to connect with the energy that is represented there. It's as simple as that. So when we have problems and thinking that we're going to solve this by going into a complicated process and that it's real easy to do because other people have lied to you. You get a dial box. Oh, it's so easy. Use the stick method. Use it. It isn't easy. And people don't get good results because they can't tune properly. So we're going to go into all of this, but we're going to give you that in these areas, an all-access membership, and particularly Patreon. You'll be given these numbers so that you can focus on them and make them work. Now, if you don't understand how that is done, well, that's a problem. You can take these actual numbers, lay them on your radionic cell, and it's just like broadcasting. Do you really need to get the rate yourself? Well, not really. You don't need to do that. You need to access the energy and that you are. You are basically nothing more than a channel for information. You have no abilities to do anything and cannot build these. But what you can do is serve as a channel to draw to you what you need. And that's another important point that people just don't quite understand. So all these exciting things and many more are coming. That's what you do. It's a new year now. Go ahead and start getting the courses you need. Start doing your study. It's easy. It's fun. You should enjoy this. We make transfer of information through viewing a image that is loaded with power, by putting your picture on another image, by using some simple tools. This isn't about bookie work and studying like some goofball medieval monk, or having to go through strange practices that alienate you from the world that you really have to be in to survive. As much as we don't like the world, we have to function there to make money and survive. How do we do it? Well, that's a good question. Well, we tell you how to do a lot of it and how you have to work. And it's all here and you can access it and do it easily. So it's not like going to school, which most people hate. It is learning at a high level that manifests in your life every day. You'll see changes virtually instantly by just connecting to the stream of consciousness that radionic tech offers. Amazing things have happened to people. But this doesn't last forever. You have to get to higher levels of empowerment and seek what you want to manifest. So it's fun, it's interesting, it's all there. Follow the courses. We are here to help people. But if you're not starting off with these things, well, if you have trouble manifesting, well, are you centered? Are you doing occult gym practices? Are you pumping the bioconsciousness, the biophysical energies? Are you pumping that muscle so that you can manifest at a higher, stronger level? Well, most people don't want to do that. They just want to use technology. It doesn't do that. Bring your sensitivity up. If you expect to dial a radionic machine in, you better be really good at sensing. And that's, first of all, starts with using pendulums, using visualization tools that we offer. These are very valuable tools, and to be honest with you, they're not overly popular. Why? You're not training yourself. You can't do things properly unless you're using a visualization tool. This brings your senses up for colors, for shapes. Using these tools just for a few times a week, people have dramatically increased their capacity to function and manifest. Usually, you jump up 50% once you start using these tools. The psychic training kit and the turning wheels, sensing other things, learning all these things are critical. And it's all there so that you can learn it easy and fun. I try and do everything as fun as possible. That's why I like to use vintage games and other things that are physical tools. This isn't about sitting down and looking at your belly button and meditating. While there's nothing wrong with that to a degree, it is a path that doesn't ever end. And what happens is that it's boring and people fall away from that. Now, while you have to center yourself, which is not difficult, and do this daily, which is getting your brain working towards your objectives, the rest of it I try and make as fun as possible. And as such, you'll do it. Plain and simple. So it's all there. It's all open to you. Now's the time to do it. It is quick, easy, simple, and powerful. Get going. Do it now. We are, as of recent times, have been able to ship things very quickly, even though we still are dependent on manufacturers. People like Amazon and other people take 7 to 10 days to get a book out to you. Our audio suppliers usually go out within a few days, but you're still talking about a certain amount of delay there that has nothing to do with us. But most other products, and of course all the products, as soon as we get the order, it is put into process. So there's no delays. People are getting shipments fast, even around the world now that we're using different shipping methods, depending on what it is you have. People are getting things quickly and fast so you can get started. We understand that delay, and we've been working for a long time to overcome this, and we basically have. So the items that we offer are either in stock or made to order. And a lot of items are made to order because we can't sit on boxes and boxes of these things. And secondly, that is a problem not only in money, but in personnel and space. So the manufacturer makes it to order, and then it is sent to you directly. And this usually saves time and does decrease your cost. So all of these exciting things are happening. Stay tuned to this, and make sure you become a Patreon supporter and that you are a member of All Access. This is your first level of doing. By connecting with and by tithing, giving to important organizations, you get back usually 100% more than you put in. So this is a great spiritual understanding and energetic factor that if you work with organizations that help you and you do a small amount of donations and assistance, but you're getting something for all those. Patreon is going to be loaded with free stuff. All Access is already. So it's not like you're doing something and not getting anything back. You're getting huge amounts of information for dirt cheap prices when it goes with it. So be part of the energetic reality that empowers you and watch your life soar. Until next time.